Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. Good morning. Welcome to another market open stream. Market bell is about to ring. Today, got to talk about the SEC. Gary Gensler is backed into a corner by Coinbase. How will he respond? So let's talk about the latest with this Coinbase lawsuit. And also, let's talk about Bitcoin. What's going on with Bitcoin? So, welcome, guys. We are, again, right around the market bell. Today's not looking so good. Yesterday, I guess it was, I don't know if yesterday was decent, but today, looking red once again. Unfortunately, we got some bad economic news. And there's the market bell. From Home Depot. Not just Home Depot, but Home Depot certainly led the way. Look at this. Home Depot posts worst revenue miss in about 20 years, lowers forecast as consumers delay big projects. In case you guys are not in the U.S., some of you guys watching from Europe and elsewhere, Home Depot is one of the biggest home consumer, big box stores where homeowners go and buy things to fix up their home. You know, if you wanted to fix up your toilet, your sink, you want to buy a lawnmower, you want to buy a shed, you want to go buy a new grill. You know, it's one of those places that people go to when they want to fix up their house, right? And if they're posting the worst revenue miss in about 20 years, that shows you it's not good right now. It's not good. People are saving up. People are just not spending nearly as much as before. And it makes sense, right? With the rate so high, everything is sky high, with inflation also being high, prices are sky high, and there are a lot of people that are starting to lose their jobs as well, right? So this is expected outcome of all those aggressive rate hikes that Powell has been doing. And it's exactly what he wants, because he wants people to stop buying things in order to decrease inflation. However, in the meantime, you're going to see a lot of retailers like Home Depot suffer. And you're going to see not just retailers, but you're going to see banks suffer. You're going to see a lot of businesses suffer. So this notion of maybe the U.S. will plunge into a deep recession later this year, maybe that's still in the cards. Maybe that's where we're heading, right? Everything that Powell has been doing, all the data he's been looking at, they're all lagging indicators. So whatever he's looking at is from months ago. Like, it's really hard to predict what will happen in the future, right? So, this is no good at all. And something that relates to this is retail sales. Retail sales was expected to go up by 0.8%, but instead it went up by 0.4%, which again is way below expectations. So again, measuring retail sales is just not good. People are just not spending as much, right? So this is according to plan, according to Powell. But what may not be according to plan is the recession that U.S. may be facing in the near future. So that's no good. No good at all. But what about this big lawsuit? Let's just jump into that. Well, you guys know Coinbase basically asked for clarification back in 2022. And for a whole entire year, they got none. Zero. SEC does not feel like they need to respond. They feel like they're like the police, and if they come after you, right, you have to basically prove your innocence because you are already found guilty. And when you ask them what they found you guilty of, they don't tell you. They just say you're guilty. And not only do you have to figure out what you're guilty of, but you also have to prove that you're not guilty. Right? That's how the SEC has operated with crypto companies. People just don't know. And when you ask them, okay, show me your playbook or your law book. Show me what you consider a security, not a security, right? What type of coins or tokens do you not like, or what should we stay far from? I mean, they just don't answer. That's why Coinbase had enough and sued SEC, and this was not too long ago, maybe like a few months ago, right, for clarification. Basically, we need to know what that playbook is, right? Like, what are you guys looking at? How should we prepare? How should we, regulate our exchange based on your playbook? We need to know, right? And SEC just will not give it up. But anyways, after this, the U.S. court said SEC has 10 days to respond, right? Basically, they agree. The SEC has been so vague, no one knows what the hell's going on, right? There's just no guidance whatsoever. Lawsuits from one project to another, one exchange to another varies. So no one knows. So even the court says, SEC, you have to respond in 10 days. Even the U.S. Chamber of Commerce also backs Coinbase in this legal fight, saying that SEC is being unlawful. And again, no one knows what that playbook is, even though Gary Gensler keeps saying that, the laws are clear. You just have to follow it and then register with us. Yet no one knows what that means, and no one is able to do so. Despite everything that has happened, SEC now responds, not responding what they should be responding with. They responded saying that Coinbase's request for clarity should be denied, that they should not have to respond to this type of request. They are above it all, right? They don't care, okay? Like, hey, it's none of these guys' businesses to know how we dictate what's a security and what's not. So this is the latest, okay? And just because they came out with a response that says that Coinbase's request should be denied does not mean it will be denied, because the U.S. court already said SEC has to respond, right? So this is just a pointless response from the SEC. Basically, Gary is backed into the corner. He doesn't quite know what to do. I don't think he knows what to do. Is he going to do something harsh? Is he going to do something irrational? I don't know. I don't know at this point. It's like, what else? I mean, it's not a hard question, right? It's just not a hard question. You know what Coinbase asked? Coinbase simply asked if crypto projects, crypto coins, should follow the existing security laws, right? That's all they asked. That's all they asked. They didn't ask for a 100-page document of everything that the SEC uses to everything the SEC uses to determine what is a security, what's not a security, or what Gary thinks about certain things. No, they just asked, one simple question. Does the current security laws apply to crypto, right? The answer should be a simple yes. Yes, that's it, right? That's all Coinbase wants to know. But even that, the SEC can't answer. They refuse. They refuse to give any definitive guidelines on what's a security and what's not on purpose, because they're trying to figure it out too. Gary's trying to figure it out also. So that's why he doesn't want to say yes or no to anything. That's why when flat out asked, is Ethereum a security, right? Should be a simple thing. Gary could just say yes. Yes, Ethereum is security. At least make that stance, right? He was asked like 50 times. He refused to answer. Why is that? He made a case against Library, saying Library is security simply because it's riding on top of Ethereum. If that's the case, then why not declare Ethereum a security, right? That would also make the Ripple case probably go away too, because Ripple's using the fact that Ethereum is a commodity as a defense, right? But again, just kind of shows you, Gary's backed in a corner right now. Okay, Congress people do not like Gary. I don't think anyone likes Gary. No one in crypto industry likes Gary. So he's facing a lot of heat. So he's going to do something irrational. I don't know. But this could be very good for crypto space because like I said, that Ripple lawsuit, if they lose that and they lose this and they lose the one against Grayscale, because Grayscale also argues that SEC is in denial of spot Bitcoin ETF. Doesn't make sense. It's unlawful. They may win that one too. I mean, the SEC may lose a lot of lawsuits. They may lose a lot. It's going to make Gary look really, really bad. Really bad indeed. But you know what? Europe doesn't seem to have this issue. So basically, there's this new guideline for crypto that's been approved in Europe or in the EU. So basically, everyone's going to be following the same rules. So it's good and it's bad. I don't know the specific terms of how harsh the rules are for crypto projects. But what I do know is this: at least there's clarity. At least it's defined. And at least you don't have one country, seeing things differently than another country within the EU. At least everyone is seeing it the same way, right? So at least there's that. You don't have a lot of uncertainty. You don't have different guidelines from one country to another, right? So at least there's that. And CZ was very pro MICA, I guess, if that's how you say it. So yeah, that's been approved. So at least you don't have that problem. If you're in Europe, you don't have that problem unless you're in the UK, and UK is not part of the EU. But at least you have that. Unlike us in the US, no one knows what the hell the SEC is thinking or doing, or what Gary is really doing, and he's still making stupid, silly videos on Twitter, thinking he's all clever. But yeah, he's facing some real heat right now. All right, now moving back to Bitcoin. What's going on with Bitcoin? Well, some people are bearish. There are still some people wondering Bitcoin needs to drop down to 24 to fill this CME gap. Okay, and this phenomenon has been ongoing ever since Bitcoin futures was released back in 2017. So as you know, stock trading, they do close, right? There's an open and close time every single day, right? And with Bitcoin never closes 24/7, right? But that's where the gaps form, because when you have Bitcoin futures, the market ends, the price just kind of stops, right? And it doesn't kick up until the next day when it opens, and there's a big gap. Sometimes Bitcoin goes up, sometimes Bitcoin goes down, and then it forms that gap. The difference between the last price of the Bitcoin futures versus what Bitcoin's current price is, right? And there's this gap around 24K. And back in the day, there's always this theory that Bitcoin has to move to fill that gap before moving up. And since then, it's been proven that's absolutely not true. But in the early days, it seemed like it always had to do that. No matter what, it had to fill those gaps before moving higher. But, some people still believe that is still a thing, that traders will force somehow Bitcoin to close those gaps before moving higher. So there are some people think that, well, since we're around 27K, 24K is not that far away. I just don't know if Bitcoin's really going to fall. I mean, there was a chance. We hit 25K the other day, right? We had a good chance to fall to 24, but no, it came right back up. So I don't know. I was never a believer of this. I was never a believer that, okay, it had to fill. I think it was just a coincidence that it filled. But anyways, so there are some that are eyeing that. But others, they don't pay attention to that. I pay attention to this. 23,000 Bitcoin transferred from Coinbase to cold wallets as Bitcoin takes a dip, right? I like the fact that people are they're transferring Bitcoin to their self-custody wallet. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. You just don't know sometimes, right? And it's not just with Coinbase. I mean, Coinbase, of course, they come up in the news a lot because they're the biggest exchange in the U.S. And recently they did have this FUD about not supporting Gala's V2 upgrade or airdrop, right? But, it's not just with Coinbase. It's with every exchange. You just don't know sometimes, right? You don't know if, I don't know, in the U.S. especially, like with bank transfers, right? Maybe that gets shut down, or maybe they go down due to an outage, or maybe they freeze your account and just shut you out, right? These are things that you have to be aware of. That's why having your own wallet is important. So you get to control that. And no one else can tell you what to do, and you're safeguarding it. That's the whole point, right? And the more Bitcoin and Ethereum and others that are removed from exchanges, the better it is. It makes them more scarce, right? Ethereum, I just covered a story about Ethereum last night. It's the Ethereum reserves on exchanges is at an all-time low, even lower than when they debuted back in 2015. Think about that. That's insane. Bitcoin is not at all-time low yet, but it is going down and down and down and down in terms of the reserves. And one day it'll be very, very hard to find any Bitcoin on exchanges because demand keeps going up and the supply keeps dropping. And I'm not the only one bullish on Bitcoin. There's a lot. Morgan Creek's Mark Lusko doubles down on crypto bull market call, says Bitcoin flashing beautiful pattern. I mean, we could see it. There's just so many patterns, right? And of course, you got the Bitcoin halving clock, right? Measuring when the next halving event is coming up, April 2024. So even less than I expected. I thought it was a full year. No, it's only 11 months. 11 months. And very good things happen after the halving event. Okay, that's when we get that most parabolic and most bullish run for Bitcoin and for all of crypto. So we got a little taste of that earlier this year. We certainly had a taste of that in 2021, but I would say that taste in 2021 was premature because of the Fed announcing that they're going to raise rates, right? So that actually kind of like stalled it. Otherwise, I think we would have had even a greater run in 2021. But I still think back about 2017, 2018, especially those last few weeks in early 2018. That was crazy time. And we'll see something like that again. Short term. This may be what we're going through right now. A final accumulation before, boom, you go upwards, right? But again, that final accumulation shows that Bitcoin may be heading lower, maybe to that 24,000 mark, right? Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just stays before it goes up, right? But as we move closer and closer and closer to that halving event, Bitcoin will slowly trend upwards. It has always done that leading up to a halving event. And then afterward, boom. That's when Bitcoin, we don't know how high it'll go. Don't know. But as for other things like this, this is showing a triple exponential moving average for Bitcoin. Again, if you measure the previous bottoms, right? This is one of those like reversal indicators. You measure those previous bottoms. This is the time when Bitcoin starts really moving up, with the exception of that COVID crash. That's different though. If you didn't have that, Bitcoin would have just gone sideways for a little bit. But that COVID crash, that was asterisk because everything panic sold. That was one of those moments that no one could have predicted. But outside of that, this is the time to be loading up. And then here's also, last thing I want to show you guys from Glassnode, the recovery from Bitcoin bear signal combines 8 metrics across 4 areas of interest. Market trading above key price models, yes. An uptick in on-chain activity, yes. Is the market realizing in profits, yes. Do hodlers dominate the market? Yes. Yes. Also pretty good. All right, that is what I wanted to cover. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let me see here. All right, scrolling down. Best bell in the industry, Alexandra. I agree. Let's see. Carmelo says means the housing market will probably get hit in the next few months. People are not moving. I think that's in response to this. Yeah. You know, all the rate hikes and the repercussions of that, you know, the consequences of it takes a while before you really see it, right? That's why everything, all these economic data, they're kind of like lagging indicators, right? They are, not kind of, they are. So, you know, our interest rate is at 5%. It's probably going to stop, right? But 5% means that everything is super, super, super expensive, at least when you're taking out a loan, right? Also, inflation, even though it has come down, mostly with energy, so commodities like goods and services certainly have not come down. I have not noticed anything drop in price. When I eat out, it has not gotten any cheaper. When I buy things, it has not gotten any cheaper. So even though on paper CPI shows that inflation is going down, it's mostly from energy. And gas prices are starting to come up again. It's expensive to fill up. So, you know, you combine these two things, right? And plus, there's other things to worry about, but you combine these two things, it's not good. Not good. You know, maybe if it gets real, and then plus businesses are going to start suffering. And, you know, you have all these things together, added together. Some people may be right. Some people predicted that later this year we're going to see deep, deep recession. I hope not. But if we see that, that's going to be bad. That's going to bring everything down. But maybe that forces Powell to cut rates instead and do a pivot. Let's see. Sailors BDC conference in Orlando was amazing. I'm glad you attended. It was all about Lightning Network this year, right? Let's see. One thing for sure about whether or not something is I'm no lawyer, so I'm not going to talk about it, but I believe there are two things when it comes to security. Whether you have a legal, um, you have, if you use something for fundraising, okay, according to SEC, right? Like if you have a legal token offering, something like that, right? That is one thing. But also, whether or not the coin itself is a security later, meaning that it has no utility at all, that's different, right? The two are separate. And that was ruled with Library also. Library was ruled to have had a legal token offering, which, yes, they were guilty of that, at least according to SEC. But as whether or not Library tokens themselves are security, that was ruled no. So they're two separate things. That's why something like Ripple and XRP, they'll probably rule that Ripple had a legal token offering, but XRP itself is not a security, right? So I think it's going to come down to something like that. But we'll see. Halving event is already priced in. No, that's not true. Every year people think that. But every year, right at like clockwork, right after a halving event, we have a parabolic rise. It happened in 2022. You know, people were expecting doom and gloom, and there's no way that Bitcoin would be going up after the halving event, and that was about May of 2020, and shortly afterwards, that's when Bitcoin started rising. So, and this was coming off of like a 3,000 bottom, right? No one thought that in 2020 Bitcoin was going to end up being at 69,000 in 2021. Zero. No one could have predicted that or guessed that, right? But it did, and it just followed what it always done. I mean, Bitcoin, it followed what it always has done. And I think it's going to be the same this time around. Do I hold any ordinals? No, I do not. Ledger update FUD or real? Shane, I have no idea what you're talking about. Did you get some kind of email or something? There are like fake emails for Ledger, but I didn't hear about anything else. George, thoughts on BitBoy's XRP prediction, 65K of XRP to be a millionaire? I don't know. I don't know. All right. Let's just do the math. $1 million divided by 65,000. That means XRP has to go up 15x. Okay. So where are they now? XRP is 42 cents. So 42 cents times 15x. That'll give them 6.3. XRP has to go to $6.30. It's within a realm of possibility. I mean, they were at $4 before. Their peak was like $4, $3.80, right? So can they go up 50% from their peak? Theoretically, yes. Yes. In an off chance that, I don't know if it's off chance, but if everything went according to plan, they win the lawsuit, we head into a very bullish market in the next 2 years. Can they do a 15x? Sure. Sure. Darwin, I'm gonna save those comments for later. I may have overestimated, yeah, on that project. Jack Daniels, would you buy 10 ETH or 0.7 BTC? I don't know. Assuming they're equivalent right now, I would do 50-50. If I had to choose one, I would probably stick with Bitcoin. But most likely I would do 50-50. You see the new Ledger update that shares your seed? No. Everyone's talking about it. I don't know. I didn't see it. I can't comment on it until I learn more about what's happening. Mark asks, when you make profit, where's the best place to keep profits? USDT or cash or BDC? No, if you need a cash pile, you don't put that in BDC. That's a different thing. Okay. You know, I think everyone should have 20, 25, 30% in cash. Cash, meaning stable coin or cash, and you use that to DCA, BTC, and everything else, right? That's different. That's different. Now, DCAing Bitcoin is not the same as keeping a cash pile, so don't get it too confused. No, I'm not bullish on Litecoin. $808 blockchain. As a social experiment, I'm going to use the idea, launch a meme coin, lock up 99 or 95% of the tokens. I'm doing the research now. Let's see how it goes. Yes, let me know. Let me know how it goes. And if you make like $1 billion from it, you gotta give me like 10% or something. Did you see Gala burn 21 billion coins, 650 million worth? Well, you're talking about the airdrop that's about to happen, right? Something to relate to that. I mean, they want to do everything differently. I don't actually exactly know what they're doing with the new token, but supposedly they're going to implement burning, and it's supposed to be a better token. I don't actually know. I will probably be out of spaces with Gala in the future. We're still trying to plan for one, but I don't actually know all the details. What if I hold Gala on Ledger? It should be fine. They said as long as you're holding it within a wallet, you should get that airdrop. The only one that confirmed they were not supporting it is Coinbase. I don't know if Binance.US is supporting it, but the only one that said they weren't going to support the airdrop of V2 tokens is Coinbase. Engine, man, I have not had anyone ask me about Engine in a long time. But surprisingly, they're still holding pretty well. 339 million. That's actually way better than I expected. And I have no idea what happened to their Efinity chain. That one's not doing so good. To be honest, I'm not kept up with Engine, so I can't tell you what's going on with them. I don't know what GA coin, which GA coin you're talking about, Webby. Do I follow Larry Chen? No clue who that is. No clue. Some weird questions being asked today. All right. Well, I think that's about it. Let's call it a day. Bitcoin is still holding right around 27,000. U.S. market not looking so hot. Let's see here. Refresh. Yeah, not looking so hot. Home Depot not looking so hot either. This may be a precursor of what's to come later this year. Also, SEC not feeling so hot, saying they should not need to answer Coinbase, but the courts already ruled they need to, unless somehow they're appealing it. I don't know what they're going to do. They should just answer the damn question. But you know what? Stick with Bitcoin, guys. A lot of goodness still there and coming. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.